Self-creation and self-care means different things to different people. Fundamentally, however, it's more than taking care of oneself. Rather, it's a lifelong process of identifying and fulfilling needs, defining oneself and one's boundaries, and as Bauman says, being in a state of permanent transformation. What I need one day may be different than the next, and certainly who I am from one year to another is changing. While thinking about self-care, I was taken back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This isn't surprising, as Maslow is a central figure in my dissertation, and the hierarchy of needs he developed is one with which I identify quite well. I do need to make the disclaimer that I do not feel that any one model or theory fits every situation, so my use of Maslow's hierarchy is a way to look at self-care, not the way. In 1959, Maslow identified needs from the most basic through the most abstract. His theory was that until the lower needs were met, higher-level needs could not be addressed. So briefly, from the bottom of the pyramid up, those needs are physiological needs such as food and shelter, safety and security, both physical and psychological, love and belonging, such as being part of a family, able to give and receive love, self-esteem, including self-respect and the respect of others, and self-actualization, reaching one's full potential, including creativity and expression of beauty. In later years, he also added an additional level that he called transcendence. It's easy to see how a child fits into these stages. An infant depends on others to provide the physiological needs such as food, touch, and shelter. These must be met or the infant literally dies. Next, the infant depends on caregivers to protect her from danger such as illness and injury. Babies also need love to thrive, but again, without these first two needs met, love becomes unnecessary. As the infant matures, she becomes capable of expressing love as well. At this point, she starts to move into the self-esteem category, feeling good about herself, finding the acceptance and respect of friends and family members. Of course, it isn't until later in life that the child can reach her full potential, but again, it's easy to see how the elements of self-actualization, such as creative expression and creating meaning in life, cannot be fulfilled when the lower levels of needs have not been met. Again, this is a model and not the truth, but it generally holds true for human experience. It's the rare person who will become a brilliant scientist, for example, without having food, water, shelter, safety from harm, the experienced love, and respect for himself and others. What I'm proposing here is that we can look to Maslow's hierarchy as a way to discover our needs in self-care and, at the higher levels of the hierarchy, self-creation. I will demonstrate this as someone who lives mostly at the level of self-actualization. All of the basic needs seen lower in the pyramid are of course still important for me, and I must care for all of those needs in order to continue to operate towards the top of this pyramid. To begin with, like all humans, I have basic physiological needs. For the most part, those needs are almost automatically met. I have a home that I go home to each night, I can get food and water whenever I need it, and I can rest and sleep when I need to as well. I still have specific things I need in this area, though, to feel well cared for. I prefer to eat healthy foods that are mostly organic, and I like making my own meals. One expression of self-actualized care at the physiological level is that I enjoy growing my own foods. In fact, everything that was in this bowl was grown in this garden that we built last year. I also love beauty in my food. This was a dessert that I had at my favorite Japanese restaurant. And I love good wine, another expression of beauty with food. As someone who has experienced a very abusive and traumatic period in my life, my need for safety sometimes becomes a big priority, negating all of the higher level needs. One way that I compensate for this is that I have a black belt in Taekwondo. Put very simply, when I need to, I can kick ass. This expression of care, training, also helps meet physiological needs as it keeps my body healthy and in shape. And participating in Taekwondo also feeds into the next level of need, love and belonging. From the beginning, I participated in Taekwondo with my family. First my older two boys and later my husband as well. And as a side note, it's really fun when your husband and kids have to bow to you and call you ma'am, moving into the self-esteem category. Belonging to my Taekwondo family of instructors and students meets these needs as we support one another through martial arts and through life challenges. Primary in my need for love and belonging, though, is my family. My husband Craig and I had been together for over 10 years, and we create magic together all the time. My boyfriend Joe, who also lives with us, provides a calm space in which I feel taken care of and loved. And then, of course, there are my boys, Corbin, Gabriel, Garrett, and Atan. Each of them teaches me so much and allows me to love them unconditionally, and they love me back and show it in so many wonderful ways. One way we love to spend time together is through travel. We've taken our boys to Mexico, Canada, Hawaii, the Caribbean, most of the United States. In fact, we did a 3.5-week road trip one time. Traveling gives us access to so many different expressions of beauty, such as this amazing sunrise from the top of Haleakala Crater on Maui. Of course, we also like to enjoy the beauty of nature that's right around us, like this picnic in the park or the reservoir by our house. Another way I express and experience love is through animals. I've always had a love for animals. At one point in my childhood, I had a dozen cats, 3 rabbits, and an untold number of hamsters. Experiencing these dolphins, my favorite animal, in Mexico, or these monkeys at the local zoo, or just my dog on my lap grounds me and makes me feel loved in a way that's different than I feel it with humans in my life. When it comes to self-esteem and the need to be needed, respected, and feel competent, there are many ways I see this expressed in my life. As the founder of a private school, I'm respected by the parents and staff as the expert for our community. I'm well known in the larger community, even by many high-level officials in the city government. And because of that, my need to be respected is often expressed and met at unexpected times. Often when I'm having a bad day, I'll receive an email thanking me for some difference I've made for a child or the community, and I'm quickly brought back to the reality that I'm someone who matters. Being in the PhD program also meets this need for me. I have the opportunity to fulfill a need for cognitive expression, to explore ideas, and feel known and respected by both professors and other students in the program. At the level of self-actualization, I find myself at a loss as to how to put all that I think I am into a short movie. The idea that one is constantly creating oneself leaves little defined. At the same time, it's the level at which one truly creates. If I were to define those creative, vital, self-sufficient parts of who I am, I would say this. I'm a musician. I've played music for 30 years, and it's something that I feel defines me. I am an artist. I love to paint, collage, and scrapbook. I also love creating with cloth and making costumes, such as this Halloween costume for my son, and this is one of my favorite ways to play. I love it when there's no pattern and I have to figure it out like a puzzle. I love puzzles. I love being challenged. I love to play games, both with my children and with other adults, even though I often get pretty competitive, even in things as simple as bowling. I am a writer. I've published one book and I have several more waiting in the wings, and of course my dissertation is the next big writing project. My biggest creative expression is that I am a mother. I feel that this is the most creative aspect of all that I do. And I'm constantly looking at new ways that I can express who I am and what I love in the world. Ultimately, what I'm suggesting is that by utilizing Maslow's hierarchy, we can look to see what is missing in our world of creation and self-care. If, for example, I'm feeling unsafe, there's little creativity or love being expressed. So how can I have my need for safety met, thus restoring myself to my full potential? Sometimes we can do this for ourselves. Other times we need the support of our family, friends, or even professionals. Looking from Maslow's hierarchy, however, there are usually simple fixes to move us back up the ladder to being the fully expressed, vital human beings that we truly are. So that's it. That's my idea of one way to look at self-creation and self-care. I hope you've enjoyed looking at all these pictures of my family and our vacation and our home. It was a lot of fun putting this together, and this class has been a blast, and I appreciate everything I've learned from it. So thank you, and much love to you all.